Hey everybody, it's your old pal Brian Hunt, and welcome to an episode of 60 Seconds of Risk. Today I want to talk to you about a concept with respects to cyber risk. All of you have probably paid attention to the news and maybe seen it personally yourselves. There's been a dramatic increase in frequency and severity regarding cyber attacks on all firms across all industries, and construction obviously is not immune to that. And there's different forms of attacks that come from cyber. Obviously, a lot of people are familiar with ransomware, where your system gets locked up and you have to pay money through Bitcoin, maybe to get the key to unlock your system. But what I want to talk about here today is a topic that some people don't quite understand. And there's a difference between an attack on your system and a con job. And what specifically I want to talk to you about today is the whole concept of social engineering. Now, social engineering by definition is really sort of a con. It's where someone is trying to manipulate data, information, impersonate someone else to try to extract money from you. It's like a con game. Think about The Sting, that old movie of Robert Redford and Paul Newman. It is a con. And part of that type of con, there is what's referred to as phishing. And now what you need to understand with respects to cyber insurance will cover typically when your system gets compromised, when someone gets into your system and manipulates data, extracts it, holds it for ransom, or locks up your system like in ransomware. That's a compromise of your system. In social engineering, that's when someone's trying to impersonate you, and that's where someone's trying to say a false email. It looks like it came from the controller when he's on vacation, send a wire, and your accounts payable see that, they act pay on that, and they send the money out. That's a con. That's a social engineering, or it might be referred to as phishing. Now, you need to understand, though, when it comes to your insurance policy, there might be some issues you really don't understand. Typically, before most cyber policies have been issued, or like say the past, say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, phishing or social engineering typically wasn't covered by cyber policies. They'd be an actual endorsement on your crime policy. So that if someone got a con, you'd go think your cyber policy has it. You go out, no, social engineering is excluded from your cyber. Your crime policies where that would be picked up. So that's where it's critical as you look at your policies right now. Make sure your cyber and your crime policy are looked at side by side, and make sure they're nicely covered, or there's no gaps in the coverage. You want it to make sure the two are coordinated. Now, most times in the world right now, if you're able to get cyber coverage, you can get the social engineering added. Key thing to remember though, too, guys. Social engineering typically might these days have a limit on the actual claim you might have. 25,000, 50, maybe 100. You got to understand what your limits and understand what your exposure is, because the carriers have gotten very tight with respects to coverage in the past couple of years. They've restricted coverage, placed limits. So truly understand when it comes to social engineering, are you covered? And the big tip here, guys, no matter what happens, social engineering is the best way to prevent it is to train your people. Make sure you understand. Don't open up a file from someone they don't know. Don't respond to changing wire payments by email. Make sure everything is verified by phone, because no matter how good your policies are and your systems are, if your people click on the wrong file or respond to an email that they shouldn't, it sort of prevents the whole thing. It's called a human element. Make sure your people are trained. Make sure they understand what their roles and responsibilities are. And obviously make sure your policies are adequate to meet your exposure. Like all time, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to see a certain topic or comment, please post that on LinkedIn. You can also find these videos on YouTube by subscribing, as well as the links on Twitter. Until next time.